The HOA demolished my lake cabin the very week I finally got out from under their thumb. They bulldozed it flat, left nothing but splinters and mud, a laminated notice nailed to a tree with the smug signature of their president. The only place my late wife ever found peace gone, erased in one afternoon. And, as Linda Crawford stood there calling it a safety hazard, she had no idea her entire kingdom was already crumbling under her feet. I should start at the beginning. My name's Jack Reynolds. For years, I lived in a quiet subdivision called Lakeside Meadows quiet, except for the endless harassment of the Homeowners Association. Linda Crawford ran it like her personal empire, rolling through the streets in her little golf cart with a clipboard on the seat beside her, hunting for violations. Grass, an inch too high, fine. Garbage can out past 10 a.m. Fine, she even fined my neighbor Tommy Hayes because his American flag looked sun-faded. That's the kind of person she was, petty vindictive and just powerful enough to make everyone's life miserable. I didn't care much. My real home was the cabin by the lake a quarter-mile away, sitting on land my grandfather left me. I built it myself after I got out of the service, log by log, stone by stone. It wasn't fancy, just one room, and a wide porch with a swing where my wife Sarah would sit wrapped in a blanket watching the sun sink across the water. That cabin wasn't just wood and nails, it was memory, it was promise. It was the last place Sarah was truly at peace before cancer took her. The house in the subdivision. That was just a roof over my head, and Linda's constant fines turned it into more of a burden than a home. After Sarah passed, the silence in those walls felt unbearable. So I made the decision, sell the house in Lakeside Meadows, leave the HOA behind, and move into the cabin full-time. I'll never forget the day Linda pulled into my driveway. She didn't even step out of her golf cart, just sat there behind those oversized sunglasses like a hawk waiting to strike. "Heard you're leaving us, Jack," she said. Voice all honey and venom. I kept loading a box of tools into my truck, smiled for the first time in years and told her that's the plan. Closing in a few weeks. Finally, getting out from under the thumb. That smile must have burned her worse than any insult. For a moment I saw something ugly flash in her eyes. Her fake grin melted and she said lower now, "You can't just walk away from your obligations. You signed the covenants." I laughed, maybe too hard. "What are you going to do, Linda Fine?" "The empty house. My cabin's not even in your jurisdiction." Her lips pressed tight, then she slid her sunglasses back into place and hissed, "We'll see about that." I should have known. I thought it meant more paperwork, another petty trick to slow my sale. I never imagined she'd go further, but when I came back from a job out of town eager to start fresh in my cabin, I turned down the gravel road and saw nothing. Where the roof should have peeked through the trees, there was only sky. My chest went tight. I parked, stumbled into the clearing, and nearly fell to my knees. The cabin was gone. Bulldozed. The stone fireplace split in half, the porch swing gone except for one rusted chain buried in the dirt. And nailed to a tree a demolition order signed by Linda herself declaring my home an eyesore, a hazard. My wife's last sanctuary reduced to debris because some petty tyrant couldn't stand losing control of me. I called the county sheriff. A deputy drove out, took one look, shrugged, and said, "Looks like a civil matter, sir. You'll have to take it up with the HOA." Civil matter. As if it wasn't my life scattered across the clearing. That night I stormed into the clubhouse during a board meeting. Linda sat at the head of the table with her cronies Karen Fields and Mark Graves, a retired cop she kept as her muscle. "Jack, this is a private meeting," Linda said with mock authority. My voice was quiet but sharp. "My cabin is rubble, Linda. You had no right." She sighed, theatrically slid a folder across the table filled with staged photos of moss on the roof and chipped paint. "We warned you. The board voted. It was for the good of the community." Then came the final insult, an invoice. They wanted me to pay for the bulldozer that destroyed my home. Neighbors had gathered outside whispering, but no one spoke up. Fear kept them silent. I walked out of that clubhouse with my fists trembling and a chain from Sarah's porch swing clenched so hard it cut into my palm. For days I sat staring at the wreckage. I felt gutted, like maybe Linda was right, maybe I'd lost everything, Maybe I was just some stubborn old man clinging to logs and memories. The thought of fighting her felt like drowning in cement. That's when Tommy Hayes drove up with 2 coffees. He didn't say much, just handed me one and stared at the ruins. "You're not the only one she's bled dry," he finally muttered. "She fined me $100 for an oil stain on my driveway. It wasn't even leaking. Just a 25-year-old truck marking its spot." He smirked bitter. "We've all got scars from her, Jack, but you've got nothing left to lose. And if you fight, I've got your back." That was the spark. Slowly, quietly, I started gathering others. Mrs. Gable fined for feeding birds. The Rodriguez family forced to tear down their kids' swing set. We met in kitchens' garages, whispering plans. Fear is heavy, but hope shared across a table can cut through chains. Linda caught wind of course. She retaliated with fake safety inspections. When Karen strutted up to Tommy's porch with a fake inspector in tow, I confronted them. "Are you a licensed electrician?" "A state-certified engineer." "No." "Then you've got no authority here. You have 60 seconds to get off this property." The so-called inspector bolted. Karen had to slink away humiliated, and the neighbors watching from their windows saw it all. For the first time, a crack in Linda's armor. But I knew small wins wouldn't end her reign. I dug deeper, spending hours at the county records office. That's where I founded an old plat map from 1978, an easement agreement that supposedly gave the HOA rights over the lakefront. Except it was never properly signed. The whole foundation of their power was a bluff. And if the land was weak, then whoever owned the land held the cards. I formed an LLC, Pine Ridge Holdings, and started buying parcels of land around lakeside meadows. Not obvious lots, but forgotten corners, strips along the road, chunks of woods no one cared about. Piece by piece, I built a fence around Linda's empire, and she didn't even notice. It nearly broke me. My daughter Maggie found me buried in maps and deeds, eyes sunken, savings drained. "Dad," she whispered, "this won't bring Mom back. It won't bring the cabin back. You're destroying yourself for revenge." Her words hit me like a hammer. For a night, I almost quit. I thought maybe she was right. Maybe I was the crazy one. But then I remembered Sarah on that porch swing, Tommy's flag, the kids' swing set, ripped out of the ground. This wasn't just about me. It was about stopping bullies from writing the rules of other people's lives. By the time the annual HOA meeting rolled around, I had the last parcel. Linda strutted in ready to unveil a new community protection levy to fund cameras and patrols. She smirked, waiting for applause. That's when I stood. Point of order. "Madam President." Every head turned. Linda's smile thinned. "You're out of order, Jack. Sit down." Instead, I rolled out a map on the wall. "This easement, the one your entire authority rests on. It was never signed. Your foundation is sand." Murmurs spread. Linda stammered about clerical errors. Then I unrolled the second map, current color-coded. Nearly the entire county around Lakeside Meadows shaded in one color. 6 months ago, Pine Ridge Holdings started buying land. The Miller Farm, the woods to the west, the abandoned logging road, and every inch of lakefront, including the path you used to destroy my cabin. Linda's mouth fell open. Who even are they?" "I am," I said, locking eyes with her. "I own it all. And as of tonight, every fine, every levy, every patrol you propose is dead. You have no authority to trespass on my property." The room exploded. Neighbors who'd been silent for years stood, voices shaking with fury. "Mrs. Gable, you tried to take my home over a bird feeder. Tommy, you humiliated us for nothing but power." A motion was shouted. "Remove Linda Crawford as president." Dozens seconded. The vote was unanimous. Linda tried to grab her binder like it was a lifeline, sputtering. "This is illegal. I'll fight this." But the room roared back. "Sit down." She stormed out, papers flying, her empire in ashes. And that's where my story ends. With the woman who bulldozed my past standing stripped of power, finally facing the law she twisted for years. Bullies build their kingdoms on fear, but fear crumbles the moment you stand tall.